welcome to Council wRap. I'm Wes Decker, joined by City Administrator Scott Nicewarner. We get to do this on occasion. You told me the other day, I can ask you anything.
Ask me anything.
So that,
you know that.
Yeah, so that really opens up the possibilities. But let's go back to a little bit of what you talked about in the meeting this afternoon, and specifically those legislative bills and things of that nature in Annapolis. You're headed back to Annapolis tomorrow. You outlined where some of those bills stand right now, the support or the opposition from Maryland Municipal League. What are the ones that sort of stand out to you? Because I know you were presenting everything to the council as a whole, but in particular, the ones that you would find the most important as they relate locally to the city of Hagerstown.
I think they you kind of group the legislation into different buckets. One is anything having to relate to exempting from property tax. I don't think any municipality would have a problem exempting whatever from property tax if it wasn't our predominantly main source of revenue that we are able to provide taxpayer service. Mm-hmm. If we were able to get portions of sales tax or other consumer fees, those kind of things, gas tax, cigarette tax, those sin taxes, we call them sin taxes, like West Virginia gets and like Pennsylvania gets. Right. Then I think municipalities would be more open to exempting from property tax. But those pretty much are universally opposed. The affordable housing bills that the governor has put in and all of the, I think there's 10 or 12 bills of the governor's package that are being debated now. But the affordable housing one is one that is desperately needed because all of Maryland has a lack of affordable housing. But it has to be done in a measured way to where you're not straining the resources of the municipality, whether it be a county or a town or a city. You're not straining those resources. And I really think that is something we need to continue to work with the administration on to try to hone those bills down. There's definitely room and it's workable. We just have to get there. And then the other part of that is the renters' rights bill, where it does have significant protection to renters, but by the same token, we also have landlords and owners that we need to make sure are able to still conduct their business. That's a second bucket. A third bucket has anything to do when it relates to cost of doing business for the city, workers' comp claims. We certainly understand the need for workers' compensation when there are problems on the job, but those have to be measured, and we have to make sure that for as much as we're protecting workers, that we're not opening ourselves up to exorbitant costs. And then whenever it comes to the ability to provide quality utility service and the ability to collect revenue, because you collect revenue so that you can provide the service. Yeah. If we start being impeded in our ability to collect revenue in one form or another, that's a problem, and we need to make sure that we have ways around that. It's not to sound cold-hearted, but it's a cost of doing business, because if you cannot conduct that business, eventually that cost will get forwarded on to either the ratepayer or the taxpayer, and that we do not want to do.
Yeah, just like it does in the real world, so to speak. Let's circle back to the affordable housing real quick, yep. Because there was some discussion about that at the State of the County presentation this morning, and I'm just a little unclear when it comes to the density part of that, because there was some discussion about the density that needs to be created within that, but then there are a lot of pitfalls related to that too. So can you explain that a little bit, at least for me in my feeble mind, because I'm not quite getting that.
I'm not going to speak for what the commissioner said.
Sure,
I'm
no,
not
but
sure either.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I mean, there are different, there are different types of housing densities. You have a single-family home. You have townhomes. You have two-level townhomes, three-level townhomes. You have multi-unit townhomes.
Right.
You have apartment buildings. You need to be able to make sure that that what type of density housing unit you put has to be able to be serviced by whether
Okay.
it be a school, it be a utility, or whatever.
All right.
You don't want to lump. The best way to and one thing that a lot of our developers do around here is mixed density housing, where you'll have some single family homes, you'll have some townhomes. You see a lot of that down in the metro area, like in places like Clarksburg, Maryland, around the outlets, Germantown, where they have some single family homes, you have some townhomes mixed in there, and then you have some apartment buildings. That's the optimal way to do it. It all can be. It's just a matter of planning. And that's what our staffs do every day, is
Yeah.
work to plan those type of developments. The bottom line to it is there's a lack of affordable housing in Hagerstown, in Washington County, in Western Maryland, in the state of Maryland as a whole. And we have got to figure out a way that we can get people housed. And I'm not talking homeless people housed, but we need to get people housed that want to come here to work and want to live near where they work. If they're priced out of the market, and the market is hot right now,
Yeah.
it's expensive. If you don't have that type of affordable housing to offer to people, you'll lose them. And we not only want people working here, we want people living here. And we've got to find a way to produce the housing to allow for that to happen.
And when I hear affordable housing, I'm thinking to myself, well, what exactly does that mean? Are there some benchmarks out there, something that quantifies what that is?
There are. I mean, you've got buzz terms, you got affordable housing, you've got low income housing, which I don't equate the two. Middle neighborhoods that really are those type of mixed use places. You've got the one thing in the one bill in the governor's package is the difference between manufactured and modular type homes. Modular type homes don't follow local code. They're like trailers. Manufactured homes are more, and to be honest with you, I might have those mixed up. One of those will have to follow local code and has to be put on a foundation.
Okay.
And those are the type of housing we want, and the type of housing we want to make sure get put in. We don't want a city, and I don't think the county wants developments full of mobile homes.
Right.
We want nice, primarily mixed density type developments created.
Yeah, and all of this, is attempting to strike some sort of balance
Right.
for all of this to come to pass. Now, Councilmember Alshire said, after he talked a little bit about the jobs that are being created here by the development that is taking place, which is a very positive, but again, there's that balancing act, because then you're looking at affordable housing, opportunities, and you're also looking at school capacity, and we know that many schools are already over capacity. So he said, we have to figure those things out. Who is the we in that specifically? Because as was pointed out too during the meeting, the city's hands are tied to some degree when it comes to the school issue. So is that sitting down with the county, getting an audience with them to discuss this specifically, bringing in Washington County Board of Education? I mean, who are all the parties that need to come together to get us to where we can figure these things out? Because I hear everybody saying, we need to figure it out. So who are the parties that need to come together?
I mean, so look, obviously our school systems are over. I'm speaking for the city. I'm not going outside the city
Okay.
when we talk about education.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we don't have a say in what schools get built, where they get built, when they get built. But the councilman was absolutely right. We haven't had a new school built since the early 2010s maybe.
Which is crazy to hear.
Yeah, and a high school, I can tell you, I was on a redistricting committee with the Board of Education back in 2000, 2001, And it was always the plan back then to put a school in the East End, a high school in the East End, to help alleviate the overcrowding north and south. And that was really, and that was when the development started. You had the Black Rock developments going in. You had Brightwood Acres, all that development to the east end of town. It needed a new high school. Well, it got Eastern, it got Ruth Ann Monroe, fine and dandy. But what you find is a lot of those students, they live in town. We need a high school. Yeah. We need another high school in this city to alleviate the overcrowding that's happening at north and at south. You cannot continue to put portables up and expect any quality of education. Well, I don't want to say that because we have a quality education, but you need to be able to have people comfortable, kids comfortable. They can walk the hallways and not have to bump into each other. Right. They need to have the amenities that a new school would offer. Look at Berkeley County, West Virginia. Look at the schools they put there. Look at the development they've had in Berkeley County, West Virginia. Yeah. And that is what we need here, but they have to be built. There has to be money for it. We don't have an APFO in Hagerstown, and I may be speaking a little bit out of school here, but I don't think an APFO would be such a bad thing if we knew there was going to be a city school built that money would go to building.
Right, because then you have some assurance.
Because then you have some indication that the money those developers paid to put that community there will actually go to a school that will attract more people to come and live in that development. Right. Until that happens, it's useless. Because why would a developer pay for a school, pay an APFO to put a school in Boosboro? It doesn't help us. But those are discussions that need to be having. At some point, somebody's going to realize that communication does actually work, and you can actually have those type of communications amongst not only staff but elected officials, and we can get some of these problems solved because it's coming. Everybody has said, for the longest time that development stops at Frederick. Well, guess what? They found Hagerstown and they found Washington County, yeah. And the quality of life we have out here is a good quality of life. But to be able to maintain that and to be able to attract, warehouses, manufacturing, people are going to look here and they're going to say, what am I building? What am I getting for building here and putting jobs here? We have to be able to provide them that answer. Right now, I think we struggle at that.
Yeah, and I'll say this, and this is my opinion, it seems like we get in our own way with those things because we want to be bigger and better. We want to be attractive to those on the outside. We want those people, as you said earlier, to not only come here and work here, but to live here too. Right. But then we have to take those steps. And when I say we, that's a collective within the county itself. Right. And another one of those issues, certainly, and we produced the video and showed the video at the meeting, is water. And there still seems to be a lot of misunderstanding, I think, as it relates to water. But so my question is, because I sensed it a little bit at State of the County this morning, is, what is the city's ask of the county, if there is one, as it relates to water? Because when we had the joint meeting with the county, it seemed like they jumped on the fact that it would cost a lot of money, and the city saying, here are the projects that we're working on related to water. And then they said, well, so you're asking us for money. So what is the city's ask, other than for the county to understand the way that the city does things related to water and distributes water and all of those things that we've talked about? Is there an ask of the county beyond that?
No. The only ask would be that the water that we produce is not just for city residents. Right. Whether anybody likes it or not, we are a county resource, but we own that resource. And that's not going to change. I don't see any elected body coming in here and basically ceding any of that, because we own the system. We started the system. We own the system. It was done for a reason back in the day. 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago now. So we're not asking for anything. But to be able to expand the system, to be able to fix some of the aged piping that we have, to be able to do some of the things that we want, to allow for increased development within the county. It would be great to have the county's help. It would be great to have a second water resource, and whether that resource be in Smithsburg or wherever it would be great to have that, but it's going to cost money. No, we can't afford to do it on our own. If we have to, we'll spread it out. That's okay. We own the resource. We're fine with that. But ultimately, we want this resource to be one that we can, help the county in doing the expansion the county wants to see. We don't want to turn development away. But and again, I will say it a million times, there is not a shortage of water. We are not running out of water. It's not like we have a well and that well is going dry.
Right.
That is not the case.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Again, there is no water shortage. What there is, though, is a definite need to upgrade the system and to provide more opportunities for development. And that's in working with the state, too. The state puts mandates on how much we can produce and how much we can, you can produce it, but then you also got to get rid of it. And that's where wastewater comes in. And the state has regulations there. And we've got to be able to work with the state. And it's going to cost money, no doubt. And we get a lot of that. We maintain the system, as I said earlier. We maintain the system just fine. We got that. Because we've been doing it a long time. We got that. But to be able to do any of the additional things we need to do, we don't want to push $100 million of rate hikes on the customer. We won't do that. But we need to work with the state, and we'd love to work with the county on how we do that with the system. Yeah. You heard a lot today about creating an authority. I don't know why we need an authority. We haven't had any issues in discussing things with the county up to now. I don't really know what has changed. We'll talk to anybody about things, but ultimately, the city of Hagerstown owns the water system, and we have to make sure that our customers, our city customers, are taken care of, and we have to make sure that that resource is also available within the MRGA, the medium range growth area. And if the growth area outside of that wants to be developed, we're going to need some help. Sorry to rant.
No, that's okay. On that topic about medium range growth area and areas that have already been identified for expansion or for water service and things of that nature that would need to be there from an infrastructure standpoint, just like the Blaine annexation, which was discussed. I mean, that has to be a source of frustration overall, and then for a developer to then decide that, yes, I'm willing to wait you're not going to get many developers who are going to say, yeah, okay, that's fine, I'll wait 5 years.
No.
So my question on that is, it seems like, and again, discussions can be had, but then there has to be some understanding and some moving forward in order to make some progress here and ultimately, in my words, make some sense with all of this stuff.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
You can't want development, but then not allow it to happen.
Yeah.
And no, you're not going to have many developers that get told that they can't get a resource or they can't be annexed until 5 years. You're not going to get many that do that. And what's going to happen is that they're going to hear that enough, and then people are going to stop wanting to develop here.
Yeah.
And West Virginia is going to continue to boom. Pennsylvania is going to continue to boom, and we're going to be, we're just going to be, a stretch of 81 that no one wants to drive on their way to Pennsylvania or on their way to West Virginia. It's simple as that.
And isn't that really one of the things that we heard for years? Maryland's not a good place to do business, and I mean that was an overall statement, overarching for the state. But then all of a sudden, we're doing great business with the North Points of the world and so on and so forth. And now all of a sudden, the brakes are put on something like this.
And the county has done a tremendous job of economic development. and as well as the city.
Yeah, I
Have
think
done
that
a
was one-
tremendous job of economic development.
That was one takeaway from their video today. I mean, if
Yeah.
you take anything away from that, I mean, look at all of those projects
Yeah.
that have come to fruition.
Yeah, it all goes back to what I was saying before. To be able to do, you can't have your cake
Yeah.
and eat it too.
Yeah.
And I really hate to see, all the work that the county's done. That a great group of folks at the county, and the things that my group have done here, all go for naught because of whatever.
Yeah, that type of decision making. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I think we hit a lot of stuff here.
What else you want to talk about? I got plenty of time.
I think that's good for this session. As you said,
Fieldhouse is moving along. You saw that
Yep.
today.
Yeah.
We'll have some more information on that next week, I think, on the lease agreement, next
Okay.
week or the week after.
Yep.
We're going to be talking, the parking deck is coming along really well. We're a little nervous about that, but it's coming along really well. Looking forward to an opening day. If not that first homestand, certainly I hope the second homestand, but we're looking forward to the first homestand. I think, I really, like Councilman Schindler said, there's a lot of great things happening around here.
Yep.
And it's an exciting time to be doing a lot of this stuff. And it's great to see that folks are buying in, and we do have a lot of people coming over the mountain and finally finding Hagerstown and Washington County. And again, it's not just Hagerstown. They're
right.
finding Boonesboro. They found Boonesboro a lot sooner than they found Hagerstown, which is great.
Yeah.
Smithsburg, Keysville. A lot of great things are happening in this county, and it's great that as municipalities we're able to work together and help each other, and it's a great time to be in Washington County.
yeah, it really is. Good luck in Annapolis tomorrow with everything. And
Down there pushing 81 as much as we can.
boy, that's
As much as we do push the field house and we do things related to the city, ultimately we are all in the 81 mess.
Yeah.
And it makes me nervous for the folks that have to travel 81 as their primary way, either to work or to get home, because it is dangerous. And what we're trying to do, and when I go down there, when I get down there, I just try to push the fact that we need 81 expanded.
yeah.
You can look at what's happening in West Virginia. West Virginia fatalities have dropped exponentially since they made 3 wide down through Inwood.
Yeah.
That can happen here, and we've got to do it now because I don't want another person hurt or killed on 81 because of the inadequacies of that road. So that's really our primary push.
Yeah, I know the municipalities deal with what is really a minor product of those accidents, and that's traffic coming through their towns, but that's nothing compared to a loss of life.
This is not a quality of life issue like the
That's right.
Purple Line in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or rail system upgrades down. That's quality of life issue. This is a life or death issue we have.
Yes, it
here.
is.
And I think we've got some ears down there that are understanding that, but we just got to push. We got to push it hard because it's life or death. And I don't want. I know the county doesn't, and we're all working.
Yeah.
All the municipalities in Washington County are working towards that end.
Scott, thank you for your time. Thanks for allowing me to throw some less than easy questions at you.
all right.
Not exactly putting the softball in the tee all the time.
That's why we do this, man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Transparency at its best. Thanks to Scott Nicewarner. Thanks to you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Council Wrap. For now, that is a wrap.